Good evening. Thank you for joining me on this very special live stream. This is not your regular Saturday stream. This is a very special tribute to my wife, Lena, who passed away just under 2 weeks ago. Now, if you don't want to see a grown man cry, then I would advise you to switch off right now, because the chances of me shedding multiple tears multiple times on this live stream are between 99.999 and 100%. So this will be very emotional for me. What I will be doing is sharing some stories of Lena and I throughout the years, and how we met and stuff like that, and our wonderful marriage. Now, you might have noticed that I am slightly dressed a little bit different than usual. And it is this is actually my wedding suit that Lena and I got married in. Lena didn't get married in it, but Lena got married in her wedding dress, and I got married in this suit, which I will explain later. So thank you very much for your kind words. I know I did put the post up on for those watching on Facebook. Thank you very much for sending messages on Facebook. For those watching on YouTube, thank you very much for your kind words there as well. I really appreciate it. It really does help a lot with messages like that. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I told you it was going to be emotional for the messages you have sent. Facebook doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so Facebook is not working. Okay, so Facebook is not working. How am I doing? I'm doing okay, is the honest answer. Facebook seems to be an issue, but I am doing okay, is the honest answer. I've been working, went back to work on Monday. We had a service for Lena Friday before that. So I've just been head down working away, catching up on stuff, and just focused on working with our clients, working with our customers, because that's what Lena would have wanted. She's always putting the customer and putting our clients and you, our subscribers, and anyone else who's connected with us first. Because if you're investing your time and money with us, then we have to deliver on what we promise for you. So I have been working diligently on that, keeping Lena's legacy alive, because I know she's still with me spiritually, not necessarily physically. I told you that I was going to get emotional. Yeah, it's she's still guiding me, and she's still with me here, telling me what to do or telling me how to go about things. Just that little voice for me to guide me along the way. So thank you for joining me here. Thank you very much indeed. Great to see you. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much, Cook with Ariba, Fatima. Thank you very much from LinkedIn. I don't get to see who you are on LinkedIn, unfortunately. I'm going through Restream, which pulls in all of these streams in the one go. So seemingly Facebook isn't working. So if anyone is looking for me on Facebook, head on over to YouTube. That's where you'll find me. Thank you very much, Kevin. I really appreciate that. Glad Technical. Darlena, thank you very much as well. I really appreciate your messages, as I said. And Life with Liza, thank you very much. I did put the post up on the community page on YouTube, and I was literally blown away by the love that you guys shared, and also everybody on Facebook and stuff as well, and people have reached out directly to me via text and called me and whatever. It has been mind-blowing how much Lena has affected people, and I know people are saying because of me, but Lena has affected so many people, and the love and the loss that Lena told you I was going to get emotional, that Lena has left when she passed away. For other people, not just me, obviously, it's a massive, massive loss for me. Oh, good Lord. But the loss for a lot of people, because when I spoke to people directly, they were in shock that she had passed and stuff. And it was, it blew me away how many people loved her so much and how many people she affected as well. Because so many people shared stories of how she connected with them very, very quickly and made a difference in their life. And I've actually got a story of one of the people later. And also I'll be sharing with you a song that was written specifically for Lena, for Lena's passing, in fact, which I'll share in a little bit. Okay. Thank you very much, Nina. I really appreciate that too. Yes, she will always be with me. I know that. Guiding me, pushing me in the right direction. I know that. So thank you very much. Yes, she did, Shari. She changed a lot of us. And thank you very much for holding me tight. I really appreciate your daily conversations and stuff, Shari. It really means a lot, and I love you very much, and I love you all. And I don't say that like as just a throwaway comment. I do really appreciate everything that you've done and all the messages and stuff. And thank you. I love you, because we practice love and gratitude in this house. So thank you. I love you. So let's jump in with a quick story. I say a quick story. So how Lena and I met. So it was actually 15 years ago. 15 years ago this month, more or less. It was the 30th of September 2006 that Lena and I had met. We went to Tampa, Florida for a training event. And we had flown 4,500 miles to find out that we actually lived less than a mile away from each other, about just over a kilometer away from each other, for those of you in the metric zone. So we found out that we lived very close to each other. And we got off the plane, put our stuff in the hotel, and we went to look for food. And I changed. I was wearing a black t-shirt, black cargo shorts, and really dark shades. And she had come out and we were going to look for food, and she took a look at me and said, "He looks like an arrogant little shit." And she was 100% correct, but she quickly noticed I had a cute bum at the time. I actually do have again, thankfully. But yeah, so arrogant little shit, excuse my language, but that's what she said. Arrogant little shit, but has a very cute bum. And I looked at her and I was like, nah, she seems interesting, but she wasn't my type. So over the 2 weeks, we had talked every day. Went for a walk once or twice. We were actually the hotel was on the beach in Tampa, and we went for a walk a couple of times on the beach in the evening after training and stuff, and just got to know each other. And what had happened is that I had actually given up my flat in London and I was moving back to Ireland, but I was and I had organized a place to stay with a friend when I got back from Tampa. But I could not get hold of my friend at all. He was actually in New York. He had a very rare condition, and New York was the only place he could get treatment for it at the time. So he was in New York getting treatment, and I could not get hold of him. So all the 2 weeks, I'm trying to get hold of my friend and couldn't get hold of him at all. So come the end of the 2 weeks, still no word from my friend. So on the plane from Tampa back to London, and Lena was actually, we were both in the aisle seat. Lena was in the seat directly in front of me, and sort of like, it was about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Lena was doing Sudoku, and I just leaned over her shoulder and I just went 42. And at that, she just jumped out of her seat. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. I said, "You want to watch yourself that you don't put a hole in the roof of the plane." So we landed in London, and I was still stuck for a place to stay. So, and I could not get the courage up to ask her on the flight. So last chance saloon was at the carousel at the airport. And I just said to her, look, I'm meant to be staying with a friend of mine. I'm trying to get hold of him. Can I stay on your sofa for a few hours? And she's like, oh, and I could see her making this decision. And there was this very long pause. And eventually she said, okay. So we hopped in a taxi, went back to her place. And I'm trying to get hold of my friend, calling, texting, emailing, still nothing. So a few hours turned into the night. So I stayed overnight. And then a few hours turned into a few days. Day 3, staying on our sofa. I was getting off the sofa and I just went, my back had completely gone. It was totally shot. I could not move. So Lena nursed me back to health. She had a 1-bed apartment. And so she gave me her bed in her apartment, and she slept on the sofa so I could get better. And like, it was so bad, it would take me literally 5 minutes to put one sock on. It was bad. But eventually she nursed me back to health and I went back to Ireland, but we never lost touch. So 6 months later, the business I had in the UK actually got better. So I was actually moving back to London, and Lena had moved in that space of time, and she had a 2-bed apartment. So she allowed me to stay in the spare room in that 2-bed apartment. So that's how we met. There is a little bit in between. So about 3 years later, we eventually got together. I'll just fast this up for you. So long story short, we got together after 3 years, and that was 2009. And then in 2000 and, oh goodness me, 2017, I eventually asked her to marry me. To which she said, "Are you sure?" I won't go to the internet, but that was her answer. And it says, "Yes, I am sure." And she went, "Okay then." But there was something happening at the time, but she wanted to make sure that I was asking the right question for the right reason at the right time. So now the thing with us is that what we found out was that her parents had got married on March 30th, and my parents got married on March 30th. So we both said we're going to get married on March 30th. And so I'm just getting some messages here. People on Facebook can't get in. Something's wrong there, but nothing I can do. And so so March 30th was the date. So we basically had one day in the year that we could get married. So the end of 2018, my business took off. So the beginning of 2019, basically I had quite a bit of money in the bank account, in the business bank account, and we could get married on March 30th. I woke up on a Monday that I think was the first Monday or something like that in February. I think it was about February 4th, February 5th, something like that. And I realized we can get married this year. We've got the money. And that's the only thing that was holding us back, was actually getting the money together for that. So I said to Lena, I said to her over breakfast, do you want to get married this year? And she's like, she was busy taking care of her parents. Her parents are in Cyprus. My mom's in Ireland. She was taking care of her parents in Cyprus. So she's flying over and back at the beginning of 2019. And she goes, like, she didn't believe me that I was going to could pull this off. She said to me, "You take care of it. I'll show up." And I went, "Fine, no problem." So basically we had 7 weeks to organize a whole wedding, the whole kit caboodle. So I just set about to find out where we could go, because my mom's in Ireland and her parents in Cyprus. They couldn't travel, so we couldn't get married in either of those locations. And they both said to us to go somewhere nice and somewhere neutral and get married there. So we didn't want to get married in the UK. Boring. And Vegas was out of question because Vegas is just tacky. So we looked at Italy. And what we found out quickly is that it takes 3 months for you to get a license in Europe, apart from Cyprus, but Cyprus wasn't on the agenda. So she went online, where can you get married quickly? And she found a place called Guernsey. Now, for those of you who don't know where Guernsey is, it's between England and France. It's a little tiny island between England and France. And getting lots of messages here. And so rang them up and they said, yeah, you can get married here. What you need to do is live on the island for a week and then skip a day and then present yourself on day 9. You can present yourself. So 7 days on the island, have a break for a day, then day 9, you present yourselves to the government and then they will give you a license to get married. Boom, done. Organized everything on that. So organized, we're going to drive over. So we had a car. We didn't need to rely on taxis. Organize a hotel for the week and a half that we're going to be there and started to invite our guests. So rang friends, family. Some could make it, some couldn't. So obviously the ones that could, there were some that we were gutted, but we thought there's nothing we can do. So we'll just move forward with the amazing friends that are coming. So the Thursday before we were to leave, I get a phone call. In fact, 1 week before I was to leave, I get a phone call. And it says, hello, is that Mr. Walsh? I went, yes. Hi, this is Jane from Guernsey. And I went, hello, Jane from Guernsey. Where are you right now? And I said, I'm at home. And she goes, you realize you can't get married. And at this, Lena heard the conversation as she walks up to the office door and she's looking at me going. So I said, excuse me. It says, if you're that, you need to be on Guernsey now for you to get married. And I said, that's not what I was told. I said, well, what were you told? Jane said. I said that we need to stay in the island for 7 days, skip day 8, day 9, we can present ourselves. She goes, no. You live on the island for 1 week, 7 days. You skip a week and then present yourself. So it wasn't 1 day, it was a whole week. I said, that's not what I was told. And he says, well, that's not what my colleague would have told you. So at that, I said, well, what about the guests? And then Jane goes, oh, you've got guests. And I went, yes, we've got guests. So she goes, okay, this is what you do. He said, you need to send me a copy of your birth certificate, a copy of your passport, and the full list of guests and where you're staying and stuff like that. Because obviously they were looking at, they had a big party coming in for a wedding. So there was going to be a lot of tourist revenue lost by us not getting married there. So got all the information, popped there. It says it needs to be in my inbox by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It says, perfect, Jane, no problem. It will be with you tonight. So got everything off via email as she requested. So 9 o'clock came and went, and that was a good thing because if they ring straight away, you know it's bad news. So 2 p.m. came and phone rings. Hello, is that Mr. Walsh? He says, yes. Hi, it's Jane from Guernsey. Hello, Jane from Guernsey. How are you? Says, she goes, unfortunately, I've got some bad news for you. It says, Jane, she says, you can't get married on Guernsey. It says, we've looked at the laws, and because Guernsey is its own separate country, for want of a better word, it actually has its own parliament, its own laws. So it's its own legal entity. So we looked at the laws and we could not do it. In fact, we would have to break the laws in order for you to get married. And literally, they were that close to breaking their own law for us to get married. And I went, Jane, and I was like, I thought everything's gone. Then she goes, do you know Sark? And I said, well, I've heard of Sark. I don't know Sark. She says, well, Sark is next door and I've already contacted them and you can get married there. And I went, Jane, you were an absolute star. Because what I had also done on the email was not only give her the information, but I also put on there that the reason Lena and I wanted to get married on March 30th is because her parents got married on March 30th and my parents got married on March 30th. And in their memory, we want to get married on that date. Now, I didn't say that our parents were dead or alive or anything like that. I just said in their memory. And the final sentence I had written on the email was, how can Lena and I get married on March 30th, 2019? So I had asked that question and they had answered it for me. So they had actually rang Sark, which is another island in the Channel Islands between the UK and France. And they had already organized for that government to marry us. And what we found out is we need to live on the island for 5 days and present ourselves on day present ourselves on day 5. So after 5 days there, we could get married. So we actually presented ourselves on day 6. So yeah. that's how we were able to get that organized. So now we knew we were still going. We had to organize wedding dress, suit, cake, venue, reception, wedding hair, all of that had to be sorted. So as per normal plans, we had got the boat over to Guernsey. We were on Guernsey for one day, and then the following day we were heading off to Sark. So we checked into the hotel, and we found out that Sark does not have any vehicles on there apart from tractors. So the doctor has a tractor. If you're a farmer, you have a tractor. If you have an ambulance, you have a tractor. So you basically walk or cycle around the island because it's tiny. It's like 1.5 miles wide by 4 miles long. So there's no vehicles on there. So I was wondering how I was going to get the car over there. Wasn't happening. So luckily enough, the hotel we were with in Guernsey, the first island, allowed me to leave my car there. So, oh, hello guys. And sorry, there's loads of people popping in here. Thank you very much. Hi, Al. Great to see you on the LinkedIns. Hello there, Sam. Great to see you too. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much, Donna. This is my wedding suit. When Lena and I got married 2.5 years ago. So we had just arrived in Guernsey and we were having dinner, and we thought, as we were going for dinner in the restaurant, we walked through a very beautiful room, big Victorian building, nice, really tall ceilings. And we thought this would be a great room for our reception. So I said, let's ask. So as we were having dinner, I asked the waiter, I says, who do I talk to about having a small gathering of friends? No mention of the W word. Don't mention wedding whatsoever, because that always increases prices. So she says, oh, you'll need to speak to the manager. I says, perfect. Would you like me to get him? I says, yes, please. So the manager comes over. I says, I hear you want to hold a small gathering here. I says, yes, I do. What would that take? And he says, you pay for the food, you get the venue for free. And I looked at Lena. I thought, this is fantastic. He goes, we can make you a set menu. And I says, well, how much would that be? He says, £30 a head. And at that, Lena and I are just breaking ourselves laughing. It's so cheap. So for those who don't know what UK pounds is, it's about $45, $50. About $40, $45 per person. So we had about a party of 13, 14 people. So for a wedding, this was dirt cheap. This was phenomenally cheap. So he gave us a look at the menu. We had steak, we had fish, we had shrimp. We were just short of having lobster. We had chicken. It was a phenomenal menu. It was a phenomenal menu. So he says, would you like to look at the room? And he brought us into the exact room. Lena and I had looked at each other, says this would be the great room to have a reception in. So once we explained it was going to be a wedding reception, nothing changed. We were still paying for the food and getting the venue for free. So it was phenomenal. So we had our reception sorted the night we arrived. So we actually hadn't had accommodation on Sark sorted. So we went back to the room and says, well, I guess we better find somewhere to stay for a week. So Lena goes on her phone, pulls up the first place and says, what do you think of that? Holding up her phone and says, let's ring and find out. So I rang them up, and it was the wonderful Mary Piers. Mary Piers, for those of you who don't know, and you probably don't, is an amazing connector of everyone. She knows everybody on Sark and Guernsey and probably lots of other places too. But she was the connector for us for everything. So I rang up Mary and goes, hi, Mary. Wondering how we could get a chalet, because it was self accommodation. So how we could get a chalet for a week. She says, oh, that's not a problem. When would you like it? And I said, tomorrow. And she goes, oh, yeah, leave it with me. I'll take care of it. So sure enough, she did. So she goes, have you ever been to Sark before? And she goes, no. So Soull is what you do. So when you get off the boat, you'll get on the toast rack, which is basically a trailer that people sit on, and the tractor pulls you up to the village. There's a little tiny village. Goes with your bags, you give it to the guy with the trailer, another guy with a tractor and trailer, and you just tell them it's going to Mary Piers, and they will drop it off here for you. So I was like, okay, fair enough. Then she gave us the directions to her place, and all well and good. So we get to the island, and sure enough, there's a guy with a tractor with some seating on it to take you from the harbour up to the village. And there's another guy with another tractor and a trailer to take our bags to send them off to Mary Piers. So we get up to the village. We followed the directions I took down, not necessarily the ones I was given, but the ones I took down. We get lost. Give Mary a call. She redirects us back to where we should go. And eventually we found her after about half an hour of a walk, which is actually a 10-minute walk. So we get down to Mary. She lets us into her chalet and we get settled in. So she goes to us. We go back up afterwards. She goes, what are you doing for dinner tonight? And I says, well, we have no plans because we don't know anything. Now on Sark, this was out of the summer season. So they have a island hall, not a village hall, an island hall. It's the hall for the whole island. And it's perhaps the only place in the world that has a licensed bar connected to a school. No word of a lie. It is, they have a bar, a restaurant, and it's all connected. It's all in the same building as the school for the island. It's hilarious. So she goes, well, if you want, I will book you a table in the island hall for 7 o'clock. And I went, fine, fair enough, no problem. We'll just go with the flow. So Mary booked us a table. Not only that, she actually paid for dinner and bought us a bottle of wine as well, as a wedding gift for Lena and I. So this is like, holy cow, this is phenomenal. So next day we needed to look at, well, we have guests flying into Guernsey. Now we need to get a boat from Guernsey to Sark and from Sark back to Guernsey on the wedding day itself, because we were getting married on a Saturday and out of season. The boats leave at 8:30 in the morning, but that's way too early. We were getting married about 1 o'clock. So we said, we're not having our guests over on Sark getting bored to tears, waiting around for us to get married. So I said, we'll hire a boat. So who do we go to? Mary Piers. I says, hi, Mary, who do you know would be able to bring us over on a boat to Sark on the Saturday we get married? She goes, leave it with me. I'll make some phone calls. Sure enough, we go off, do some sightseeing around the island, come back a few hours later. Mary's there. She goes, I've had a chat with Ray. He's expecting your phone call. Number's on the fridge. And sure enough, Ray was able to do it. That he was able to bring us over whatever time we wanted, whatever time we to come back, not a problem. So that we had transport. We had initial transport. Then we were looking at hair. So Mary says, leave it with me. Get Lena's hair done. Leave it with me. I'll make a phone call. So Mary had phoned the only hairdresser on Sark, Pauline, and had set up an appointment. This is early in the week. And we thought, yeah, okay, that's fine. Had nothing confirmed yet, but we had an initial phone call and it was fine. So then it was, what we had found out was it was actually Mother's Day that weekend we were getting married. So we had a major problem that we couldn't get flowers and we couldn't get a cake, because everyone and their dog was getting flowers and cake for their mother or their grandmother or whatever on that weekend. So all the bakeries and the florists were completely jam-packed. So Lena had spent a few hours ringing up the florists, ringing up the cake shops. Nothing was happening. So I made some phone calls, and I'll come to that in a second. But first, we wanted to get a wedding venue. So we had looked at there is a small chapel on the island, which is an ancient chapel, it's a couple hundred years old. We'd looked at that, but it's a bit too small. So we said, no, not right feel. Then we went to the Parliament of Sark, and we looked at that. And again, it was a bit too small, not exactly the feel that we wanted. So somebody had suggested we go to a hotel called Stocks Hotel. So we went up there on the Sunday for lunch, and we had lovely fish and chips. Oh, it was amazing fish and chips in the sunshine outside. And we thought, this place is nice. We could have our wedding here. So I said, who do I talk to about having a small gathering of friends here? He goes, oh, go into the reception. Paul is inside. He'll take care of you. So went inside and spoke to Paul and says, what would it take for us to have a small gathering of friends here? And he goes, pay for the food. You get the venue for free. So Lena and I look at each other going, how is this possible? How is this possible? So I goes, well, what He goes, what type of thing are you looking for? Well, I said, we're just wanting some finger food and stuff like this. How much is that? So he says, we have a £10 menu, we have a £12 menu, and a £15 menu, something like that. He says, how many people are there? It says, it was about 13, 14. So if you make it for 15, then we have enough for everyone. So we went for the £15 menu. And he goes, okay, what says, what venue would you like? It says, well, what have you got? So he shows us the library. Again, a bit too small. Then he brings us into the restaurant. He says, you can have it here, but you're going to have people having their dinner here. And says, I'm not getting married while people are stuffing their face watching our ceremony. He says, that's not happening. He says, well, we've got the quarry. So it goes, where's that? It goes, oh, come with me. So it's outside. It's a basically they've got this rock face and they've built this stone wall around it. And it's a little thing where you can have small gatherings and stuff. So he goes, yep, if we face the rock, you can have this, you can have that. And I'm just looking at this big, ugly rock. And I'm going, that is the ugliest thing I have ever seen. This is, I'm not having my guests look at that. So I flip 180 degrees. And I look out and I'm looking over amazing green trees and amazing lawns and stuff like this. And it says, that's the direction we're going in. That's the direction my guests are going to be looking at, not this big, ugly rock face. So I said, flip everything around. We put the table here where we get married, have our guests, the seating around here. That's what we're doing. And it was perfect. So again, pay for the food, got the venue for free. So we had a wedding venue. Now we needed also to get our guests from the village to the hotel. So we weren't going to get them on bikes. So the only thing left was horse and cart, literally a horse and cart. We couldn't get tractors because there was no one had a license to drive people around the island, that part of the island. So literally had to get horses and carts. Back to Mary. It says, who do you know has a horse and cart for about 14 people? She goes, leave it with me. I'll make some phone calls. Sure enough, we come back a couple of hours later. She'd already made the phone calls, already arranged everything and done the deal for us. So Mary had sorted that out for us. So again, now we're left with, we have our venue. We have our venue for getting married. We have our transport to Sark. We have our hair somewhat sorted, but I'll come to that story in a second. And we also have our wedding venue itself. So we have a reception and the wedding venue itself. And so we were left with, and we also had the horse and cart. So we had transport we had transport by boat and we had transport by horse and cart. Woo! So yes, back to the good old days, horses and cart. So now we were left with hair, cake, and flowers. So our hairdresser, the single hairdresser on the island, when we rang to confirm that she would be okay to do the hair, had decided to go on holiday. Very conveniently had decided to go on holiday. So we were stuck for someone to do hair. So back to our ever wonderful Mary Piers. And she goes, have you contacted Pauline? And says, Pauline's going on holiday. She goes, oh, well, I do remember seeing a poster in the post office. You could try that out. So sure enough, grabbed the coats, off to the post office. And there was a poster with those rip-off telephone numbers on it. And grabbed one of them, back to the chalet. And hey, presto, change it. We had hair. So yeah, Lena was contacting the other. She was contacting the florist. She was contacting the bakers, and she was not getting anywhere. It's going, sorry, madam, no, it's Mothering Sunday, can't get anywhere. Not a thing. So it's like, great. I said, give me that phone. So I took the phone off her, and I rang the first one I rang was the bakers to try and get a cake. So the number had rang out, nothing. So rang the next number. That went to voicemail. Nothing. So I had no more numbers. So we went back to the first one again. And this time they picked up. Hello, Paula's Flowers, or Paula's Bakery. How can I help? Hello, Paula. I'm wondering if you could do me a favor. And there was a bit of a pause on the phone. And she goes, it depends on the favor. And I thought, yes, I've got in here. He goes, how could I possibly get a cake for Saturday? Say nothing. So she goes, what type of cake would you like? And at that, Lena's like, screw you. How could you? How could she couldn't believe I got through after she's got so many no's from everyone else. So I'm asking, what do you want? What do you want? So I'm on the phone here. Lena's standing right here. I go, what do you want? What do you? She goes, a chocolate sponge and a cream sponge on top. She goes, oh, you want a chocolate? You want a 2-layer cake? And I says, yes, we would like a 2-layer cake. She goes, what would you like to glue the cake together? I says, well, what can we have? So she goes, you can have a chocolate layer or a jam layer. And Lena's about to say jam. And then Paula goes, you're probably better off with a chocolate. And I says, fine, chocolate's perfect. She goes, what would you like on the outside? And I says, well, what can we have? So you said you can have an icing, you can have a nice cream, a chocolate cream. And at that, Lena's like, yeah. So yes, we'll take the chocolate cream. And then she goes, what would you like on the cake? And I says, what would you put on it for a wedding? And she goes, oh, it's a wedding cake. And I went, yes, it's a wedding cake. She goes, no problem, leave it with me, I'll sort you out. It went perfect. So I says, Paula, how do we get the cake from you? She goes, where are you staying? So give her the hotel name. She goes, oh, I'm actually driving past there on my way to an event Saturday morning. I can drop it off. And I said, Paula, you're a star. How do we pay you? She says, put the money in an envelope, leave it behind reception, and I can pick it up from there. I says, you are amazing. Thank you very much. So we got the cake, 1 down, 2 to go. So next one was a florist. Hello, Guernsey Florist. How can I help? It says, how could I possibly get a small handheld bouquet of flowers for Friday? She goes, what would you like? And again, Lena's going, how dare you, screw you, how could you get it? How can you get it? And I'm not, stuff like this. So I said, well, what do you want? Because again, I'm not the flower person. It's Lena's bouquet. What do you want? So she goes, I want some white roses. I want something orange in there and some green foliage. So Gervin says, yeah, it's a small handheld bouquet. Beautiful. Says, yeah, we'll have it for you 2 o'clock on Friday. It says, perfect. Thank you very much. So 2 down, 1 to go. So we had this phone number for the hair, and Lara Lou was the girl's name. And I made the phone call. This is, hello, Lara Lou speaking. Hi, Lara Lou. How could I possibly get hair for a bride on Saturday morning? She goes, oh, I'm actually working at Cara's Chocolate Factory on Saturday. And now Cara's Chocolate Factory, you probably never heard of it, is the most amazing chocolate we have ever come across. It is handmade on this little island, like dainty little island, handmade, phenomenal, amazing chocolate. And she was working in the factory. So I said to her, not one to be let down by somebody working on a Saturday morning, says, well, how long would it take you to do a hair for a bride? She goes, maybe an hour, hour and a half. Oh, it says, brilliant. So if you were here at 8 o'clock, you could get all done and you could get to work on time at Cara's Chocolate Factory, because Cara's is literally 5 minutes away from the hotel. She goes, yeah, I could do that. Then I says, what would it take to get to do a bridesmaid's hair too? And she was like, I don't know. I says, surely you could get it done in half an hour. She goes, oh yeah, I could do it in half an hour. I says, perfect. So if you were here at 7:30 on Saturday morning, that would be more than enough time for you to get everything done and get to Cara's Chocolate Factory on time. She goes, yep, not a problem. I said, perfect. Then I go, how much? And she's with a friend. And she goes, how much do I charge? How much do I charge? And she goes, £60. I said, done. Perfect. Lovely. So see you 7:30 Saturday morning. Lovely. So I had, in the space of half an hour, I got a cake, custom cake. I had our flowers, bouquet of flowers organized, and had Lena's hair organized in the space of about 20, 30 minutes. And Lena's going, how can you do this? Oh my God, you're just amazing. It's like, oh my God, we've got all this. So we literally organized a whole thing in a week on the island. A whole wedding. Now, not just literally a whole wedding in the space of a week. So we got back to Guernsey on the Thursday. We're getting married on the Saturday. We went back to Guernsey on the Thursday. So we had a family come in on Thursday, and we had guests coming in on Friday, other guests coming on Friday. So, and Lena was also leaving Guernsey to go back to Sark on Friday night, because she was going to spend the night on Sark, obviously, because I can't see the bride the night before the wedding. Obviously, we were traditional. In fact, that was the only traditional thing about the whole wedding, because we actually had our honeymoon before the wedding. We were wearing our rings the whole time throughout because we didn't want to lose our rings. So we actually had our wedding bands on the whole time. The only time we took them off was shortly before the wedding to give them to the best man, to give them to us in the ceremony. So we got back to Guernsey, but something was bugging me about Lara Lou. And I said, Lara Lou's could be the one that could bail on me. And if she bails, then we have nothing. We have no hair and we're totally screwed. So I get back to our hotel and I call Lara Lou. And he goes, hi, Lara Lou, it's David. Says, oh, hello there. Says, yeah. Says, I don't want to give you £60 for doing my wife's hair on Saturday. I want to give you £70. And at that, she just, oh my God, you're amazing. Oh my God, thank you very much. Oh my God, thank you. So I knew she was emotionally invested in the work now. And I thought she's definitely going to be there on Saturday. What we had found out is that Lara Lou, her bike had broken and it was going to cost her £70 to get the bike fixed. So basically I had just paid for her whole thing to be fixed. So I don't know what it was, but yeah, we basically paid for her to be bike to be fixed. And I've got another story about Lara Lou and the hair on the day itself, which I'll tell in a second. So our guests started arriving on the Friday. So Saturday morning came, and before Lena left with Julia, her sister, on Friday, she goes, you wear a coat. I'm not having you go over that sea, on the sea for 45 minutes and you getting your death of cold on our wedding day. You wear a coat. If you're not wearing a coat, I'm not marrying you. Because it was meant to be about 14, 16 degrees Celsius, which is about, I think 60 Fahrenheit for those in the US. So it wasn't warm. It wasn't freezing, but it wasn't warm. So she goes, you wear a coat. I'm not marrying you for not wearing a coat. So I thought, yes, honey, that's not a problem. I'll wear a coat. So Saturday morning arrived. Our guests had all arrived, bar one. And Saturday morning arrived. I woke up 5:30 a.m. I thought, I'm not going to fight this. I'm just going to get up and just have a very relaxing morning before I get married. So our hotel, the hotel we're staying at, is on the top of a hill overlooking the harbor in Guernsey. Beautiful hotel. So I get up and I walk down to the bottom of the hill, right to the harbor. And the day before, the sea was like this. When Lena was going over to the island, she was up and down and up and down. In fact, her sister, Julia, who doesn't really get seasick, was almost getting seasick. So the sea was like this. And Lena and Julia were going, it's not going to be great for our guests. It's not going to be great for our guests. Oh my God, our guests are going to be sick before they arrive. All of this sort of stuff. But 5:30 Saturday morning, March 30th, 2019, the sea was like a sheet of glass. It was so smooth. The sun was coming up and I just said to myself, today's a good day to get married. And it was a phenomenal day. So I get suited and booted. I had hired a video company to video the wedding for us. And he arrived at the hotel to take the pre-wedding shots and stuff like this. And he goes, it's not meant to be like this. It was 18 degrees at 10 a.m. in the morning. And it ended up about 24 degrees throughout the day. March 30th, he says, it's not meant to be like this. It's not meant to be like this at all. He didn't even expect us to get off of Sark on the same day because he had a gig on Sunday and had subcontracted someone else to do the work because he didn't expect to get back. That's how much faith he didn't have in us getting back at all. And he goes, well, what are you going to do if this happens? And what are you doing? That happens. He says, we're not focused on that. This is what we're focused on. And so it was like 22 degrees by the time we left. Got all in the taxis, went down to the harbor, and there was Ray on his boat waiting for us. And so we set sail for Sark. And everyone's in this boat and they're going, oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you for inviting me. And I says, we haven't had the wedding yet. What are you thanking me for? You're welcome, but we haven't had the wedding yet. And they go, this is like being in the Mediterranean, like a movie star in the Mediterranean. Oh my God, this is amazing. And it was beautiful, beautiful. So we get to the harbor, we get on the tow track, and everyone's doing Mexican waves up in the tow track. And of course, there's no suspension on the trailer that we're sitting on. So everyone's up and down like this, and we're laughing on the potholed roads. So we get up to the village, and there is our horses and carriages waiting for us. And everyone's going, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable." So they hop on the horses and carriages, and Clayton, my best man, who's from Jamaica, as we're going down, starts singing Bob Marley to the horse. Now, the horse, this is the first gig that these horses have had since the winter. So they're not too pleased to be pulling a couple of 100 kilos of people behind them on a horse, on a carriage. So he starts singing Bob Marley. And I said, "Don't sing Bob Marley. We want the horse to speed up, not slow down." So we get to the hotel, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful." And it was a phenomenal scenery. It was magical, absolutely magical. So had the quarry area set up. Everyone took the places. Then we got the nod that Lena was coming. Now, I didn't see Lena's dress. She didn't see what my suit was, anything like that. So her brother gave her away, and Julia was her bridesmaid. And there was a ramp, a stone ramp coming up to the quarry. And oh God. When she came up, it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen in my life. It was unbelievable. And I just welled up like this, right like this. And when she saw me well up, she welled up. And when both of us welled up, everyone else welled up. There literally wasn't a dry eye in the place at all. So the Trevor, who was going to do the marriage for us, told us it was going to be 4 minutes. He lied. It was 2.5. I watched the video back the other day. It was literally 2.5 minutes. Went through some basic stuff. Said, "Do you take it?" "Yes, I do." "You do?" "I do. I do. I do." "Where are the rings?" Bish, bash, bosh. All married. So at that, we started to get the photographs, and then we went down for food, and we had our food, and it says, "Okay, we wanted to give everyone an experience of the island, not just like you're coming from one hotel to another hotel, back to that hotel." So we lived on the island. We love this beautiful island. There's some magical, amazing scenery here. We're going to take you there on the horses and carriages. So pile up on the horses and carriages, everyone. So we did. We took them to a place called La Coupe. In fact, if I have the images, I'll pull it up now. I do. Here's La Coupe. So this is La Coupe. So this area here that you see is La Coupe, and it is most beautiful. It is phenomenal. And so we brought them down there, and everyone's getting their photographs taken. They're getting selfies. We got a couple of photographs, obviously, because they're up on the top of the hill. We've already been there for the week, so we got all those photographs before. We're down on the bridge area getting photographs with the photographer and stuff like that. And that's where that photograph was taken. And they come down and say, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And they're taking videos, they're taking photographs, all of this sort of stuff. So I said to Lena, says, "We need to make a move back to the boat so that we can get to the reception on time." And I said, "I know what to do." It says, I just said to everyone, it says, "If you want chocolate, you need to get on the carriages now." So boom, they were gone faster than Usain Bolt out of the blocks. They were disappeared up the hill back to the carriages. And they're waiting for us to get on the horse and carriage next. So like this is about 3 minutes away from where we were. So we stopped off at Cara's chocolate factory. So Lena walks in first, and Lara Lou, who did Lena's hair, was inside, and she was in the factory area making the bars of chocolate. She looks up and sees Lena, and she goes, "Ah!" like that in excitement. And as soon as Lara Lou does that, Lena goes, "Ah!" like that. I can't get quite as high a voice as they did. And so they run over to each other, Lara Lou gives her a hug, tears running down her face. She goes, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, you're amazing. You're so beautiful. Oh my God." And so I said, right, we have a few friends with us and they want to buy chocolate. And we did. We basically bought the shop. We had dropped so much money in there. It says, if you like this, and we're just giving them, tell them, if you like this one, get this, get this, get this, get this, get this. If you want the drinking chocolate, get that, get this. That we just got so much stuff. Everyone was picking up chocolate all over the place. We bought about half the shop. And then Clayton, my best man, bought the other half as presents for the video guy and the photographers and stuff like that. So they had basically made more money in that one day than they had done that previous year. For those 3 months, we probably dropped more money than they had done in the previous 3 months. So they were happy. They made a boatload of money. And Lara Lou got to see Lena in her whole rig out and stuff like that. Back on the horses and carriages, down to the village, back on the toast rack, down to the harbour. Ray picked us up and everyone's sitting on the boat, going again across the nice, smooth water. And Ray's like, and everyone there on the boat's like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like amazing. So off the boat, up to the hotel, and they have a champagne reception for us at the hotel. And afterwards, we said, if you want to break for half an hour, go back to your room, freshen up, whatever, we'll have dinner in half an hour. So they did. We came back and we had the reception in the room we had looked at earlier on. So Clayton, my amazing, amazing best man, stands up to do the speech. And if you're watching, Clayton, thank you so much, man. It was fucking unreal. So he goes, gets a piece of paper and goes, shh. And it says, this speech I've written will not do today justice at all. There are no words to describe the magic that has been created today. And it was magic. Lena and I kept saying that time and time again. And even our guests, that is the exact word that they used. They said it was magic because we were able to pull that together, literally a magical day together. Because it was meant to be. And that was the magic that Lena and I created together. Oh, God. So Clayton, during the speech, he goes, so my words will not do this justice. So what I would like you to do is to share how you met David or Lena and Lena and a little story about them. So all of our guests became part of the reception. Like we had a very small party. It was only 14 of us anyway. 14, no, 12, something like that, 11, 12 people. So everyone became part of the reception. So everyone shared a story and stuff like that. And it was amazing. It was unbelievable. Like it couldn't get any better. That was like just more tears out of everyone's eyes, both laughing and crying, but happy tears. So the reception was amazing. So that was the day and the night. Then we went back to the hotel room and the housekeeping staff had made a towel, two towel swans into a love heart on the bed and spread rose petals on the bed and going, happy wedding for you both. And it was like today could not get any better. It was like, that was just the cherry on top. And we thought today was absolutely amazing. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the magic that Lena and I created. And yeah, it was an amazing day. March 30, 2019, one of the day I will never, ever forget and never tire of telling of that story. So what I want to do now is, I know I thank you so much for being with me here. Thank you very much, Bill Doobie, for your super chat. All super chats, any contributions today will go to the North London Hospice. They are a charity that have done an amazing freaking job for Lena over the past couple of weeks. And we cannot thank them enough. So all contributions will go to the North London Hospice, super chats, etc. So what I want to do is, I want to share with you, I'm going to finish here. I think this is a good place to finish. I'm going to share with you a song by an amazing artist called Nyrah Soull, who actually used to live next door to us here. And she came to Lena's service Friday, 8 days ago, Friday week. And she was inspired to write this song. So I said, this is amazing. And when you hear the words, you'll see why. And I said, how could I share this on my live stream, my tribute live stream to Lena on Saturday? She goes, I want to publish it, make it a bit better. Leave it with me. So yesterday I got this video, and I'm going to share that with you now. So this is Nyrah Soull. If anyone is interested, and if anyone is in the music industry or knows anybody in the music industry, she's looking for a deal. Her details are in the description. Whatever platform you're on, it's in the description. Please reach out to her and let somebody know about her. She is an amazing artist. So I'm going to play that for you now. This is, oh God. Oh. This is Angel's Game by Nyrah Soull.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Went to a funeral today. Didn't really know just what to say. Never thought that Lena would be late, but I know David will see her at the gates. She was a good one. Made us coconut dessert, had some good fun. Didn't think it would be her, but I know that she's in a better place. And the angels have gained. So fly, fly. This isn't goodbye. We'll see you in perfect moonlight. She was a star, shone through the sky, travel far. Left a mark in all of our hearts. Wouldn't even know where to start. She was a good one. Made us coconut dessert, had some good fun. Didn't think it would be her, but I know that she's in a better place. And the angels have gained. The angels have gained. The angels have gained. We'll see you. We'll see you someday. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we've got some black picture here. I don't know what's happening. There we go. I'm back. So that was Angel's Game by Nyrah Soull. So yeah, if there's anyone who knows anybody in the music industry who would like to sign her up or would like to just even have a chat with her, her full details are in the description of this video. And I think Julia is also, if anyone wants to contribute to Lena, to the North London Hospice, there's a link in the chat area as well. I think there's also a link in the description as well to that. If you don't know what it is, if you're looking for it, it's lenawalsh.muchloved.com. MUCHLOVED.com. lenawalsh.muchloved.com. So on that wonderful note, I didn't cry anywhere near as much as I thought I would, but I did have a cry during that song. Thank you very much for joining me tonight for this very special tribute to the most amazing woman in my life. Thank you very much for joining me. And as I said, we practice love and gratitude here. So thank you. I love you. Thank you. Good night.